I have two important questions for you guys today. Stick with me. There's no ride along. I'm not going to tell you how much money I made today. I'm not going to give you any tips or tricks, nothing like that. But we're going to have a conversation. I got questions. I want to hear from you guys. And I want to have us think a little bit differently about the gig economy. Let's talk. A lot of people that make content, a lot of people that watch content, a lot of people that do this work, we get sucked in that vacuum of negativity. I'm guilty of it. I'm super guilty of it at times, and I don't like it. I don't like when I think back to some of the videos I've made, some of the lives I've done, and how the apps make me feel. I don't like it. It's one of the things I think about often, actually, throughout my day, as I'm working, as I'm doing things, as I'm preparing for my day, as I'm thinking about the gig economy, as I'm accepting and declining, as I'm dropping things off, as I'm shopping. It's one thing I'm aware of a lot for myself, and I think a lot of us can relate. This kind of work can be frustrating when it doesn't need to be, because it's very simple. Very simple, but the apps and other situations and customers make it a lot harder than it needs to be. But I got one question first before we get into tomorrow's impending strike. Listen, why do you do gig work? What's the reason that you decide, or what's the reason you came and or decide to stay in the gig economy? So why are you working in the gig economy? Why do you turn on DoorDash specifically? Let's bring some positive, I want to hear some good stories, a good reason. But also I realize a lot of us, maybe you feel like you have no other option. You were fired from your job, you don't want to work with people, you don't like having a boss, whatever that means to you. And you feel like this is your last hope, your last ride, and this is all that you can do. For those of you, I'm going to challenge you right now. You can do way more than you think. I'm not going to get into it too much. I've talked about it before. If you feel like this is all you can do, then you're right. And I also feel like a lot of the people that complain about the gig economy, that are going to be striking tomorrow, which we'll get into that in a second. But you're right. You could protest. Strike's a horrible word. Protesting tomorrow against the pay and the safety. Why do you feel you have to do this work? Why do some of us continue to do the same thing and do it and complain? Why? What's the reasoning there? What's the logic behind it? If you came to the gig economy for freedom, flexibility, a little bit of side money, aren't you getting that? If you feel like you're not, tell me in the comments below. If you feel like you're not free, you don't have freedom, you don't have flexibility, you feel like you're a W-2 employee, is that why you're striking? Because you feel that way and you might as well get some kind of benefit? Some of you guys want paid time off. Some of you guys want more money. Everybody wants more money. Some of you guys want fair deactivations. Some of you guys want all those things. There's something wrong with that. But that's an employee that's not independent. So why do we continue to strike for the 100th time? And what has really come of that? Some would say legislation has come in places like California, Seattle, New York City, and a few others. And some people like it and some people don't. But I feel like, if anything, us drivers are almost against each other. If you think about in the comments, you think about live streams, you think about opinions, you think about content creators, how are we going to fight the companies when we can't even get along and we do the same fucking job? I want you to think about that for a second. For the hundreds, it'll probably be hundreds, I would imagine, across United States and Canada and all that, they're going to strike tomorrow. Most of y'all are going to work the next day. So what do you plan to achieve? Do you hope that a politician sees you, that a news coverage person sees you and says, ooh, my voice was heard, now we're going to have legislation? Because the company's never going to pay you more money. The company's going to continue to pay you less. If anything, the one benefit about the protest tomorrow is the ones that are going to work, maybe there's some surges and they might make more money on Valentine's Day. That's a bonus. But for all the people working, for all the people protesting, what do you want to achieve? What is the end game? Is it for a politician to put the pressure on the apps and then you have legislation and you become more like an employee? No shade, I'm asking the question. I want to know, what is it? We've had 100 protests, 100 strikes. What have we achieved from it so far? Besides, if anything, we're more disposable, and they take things away as we think we're getting a couple of breadcrumbs. So we had a sandwich. We finish the sandwich, we're not full, and then they throw us some breadcrumbs and then we're happy with that. And now we can't get a second sandwich. Probably a horrible analogy. It doesn't matter. I feel like we're asking for breadcrumbs when there are sandwiches out there. Why do you do the gig economy? What keeps you coming back? Why did you get into it? What do you love about it? What do you hate about it? And how long are you going to continue to stay in this space? Now, I do want to give some credit where credit is due. The people that are going to be protesting, the people that have gone out there and done this, you can tell they put some effort and they're passionate about it. I can absolutely, and I will always respect people like that. If you're passionate about something, the great thing about this country is you can go out and protest or strike, have your voices heard, get the media involved. I think those are all great things. But what is the next step? How many times will we continue to do the protests and strikes in the way that we're doing them before we say, hold up, what is the next thing? So some of you guys are watching this on the day of Valentine's Day, February 14th. And if you're not making money and you're somewhere in a parking lot or at an airport, or you're just still working, but you're standing with your brothers and sisters in solidarity of striking and protesting, do you. But a lot of people came to this for a reason that I think we forgot. We came for freedom, flexibility. We do it as a side hustle, and we don't want other people involved. When will it stop? When will it end? When will the companies listen to the people on the streets? Have they ever? I don't know. You guys tell me. I want a history lesson. Has there ever been a protest and strike where the company said, you know what, man, that Pedro guy's right. Let's give these guys more money? Or has it always been a politician and legislation having to get signatures in order for legislation to possibly happen? And long term, I think that will affect more people in a negative way. You guys tell me. Why are we here? Do we forget why we came to this? Do we forget the majority of people that do this do it in such a small amount of time for a small window? The companies know that, and that's why they can mistreat the full-timers, because it's the full-timers that are protesting and striking. It's not the part-timers, mostly. Why did you come into the gig economy? What do you expect out of it in 2024? And what can you do differently on a day-to-day basis? I've always felt like we can do more for ourselves than we can looking for another person to help us out and give us a helping hand. I think a lot of us would be in a different position if we worried about our movements versus a company's movements and a politician's movements. Some people will not understand that, and that's okay. The good thing about the gig economy, we can all come to this and do it how we want to do it. We do it and it works for us. We make it work for us. But at the end of the day, remember why we came to this. And if your earnings are down year over year over year over year, my challenge to you is you might be in this full time for too long. You might be in it for too long. And that's a bigger issue. This kind of work at the entry level is supposed to be just that. And I know a lot of you guys can say, dude, this guy is a shill. How much did Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and Grubhub and Instacart pay him? They paid me nothing. I will always say the things that nobody else will say. I will always challenge this community in ways that are different. I don't like what the apps do. I came to this and I've made it work for me mostly. In this type of 1099, self-employed, independent contractor, whatever you want to call it, type of work, there's going to be leaps and hurdles and things that we have to do for our own. I don't want anybody to hold my hand, give me a pacifier, or pat me on the back. I will figure it out. We'll have good days. We'll have bad days. I think we need to think about the bigger picture versus looking at the moment or moments that we're trying to create on social media, media outlets, news clips. Those are moments. What's the bigger picture? And more importantly, my final question is, what is your bigger picture? You can control that. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And listen, I know some of y'all won't like this video. That's okay. I love the fact that we can make videos and have opinions and agree or disagree. But at the end of the day, I think it's easier to not work for one day than it is to figure out how can I make my personal situation better, even throughout the obstacles of a company that doesn't respect us. I hope that makes sense. If you like this video or others, check out this one here. Consider hitting subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments.